Welcome to Google Sheets App Script Index and Match. So first let's talk about the index function, which takes an array and row and or column position within the array and returns the value of the row and or column position in the array. So here I have a Google Sheets spreadsheet called countries. Now let's see. Say I want to find the value of the second position in, say, this array. But come here, type equals index, and here's our array. Give it a position of 2. I get country. So the position across this array is 2. Of 2 is the value is country. So index returns the value when you give it a position within an array. Next, we have the match function, which takes a lookup value and a row or column lookup array and returns the position of the lookup value within the array. So say I want to know the position of the country Japan in this array. You say equals match. Our lookup value is going to be Japan. The lookup array C4 to C11. Match type exact, 0 for exact. We get 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the row position in this column array. So remember, match returns the position, index returns a value, match returns the position. Now, index is often combined with match to get the value at the intersection of the matching row and column position given within the array. And index will usually we usually want the row and column position, so we have to provide the lookup array and then use match to get the row and column positions. Let's say we want to come back to our spreadsheet and provide some two row and column values within the array. So we get index, our array. You want to say the row 6, column 3. These are the positions in the array, row and column positions in the array. Nairobi. Oh, sorry. So row 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then column 3, Nairobi. Now over here in cell C2, instead of hard coding the row and column positions in the array, we're using match. So the array before the 11, and then to get the row position, we're using a match. I want the value in cell A2, the country, and the country array C4 to C11, exact match, and then match to get the column value within this array. You want to use just cell C1 capital, and then the array B4 to D4, and that gives me, when you combine index of the value is Tokyo. So let's use another country, say Russia, values Moscow. So we are returning the intersection of the row and column positions within the array. Unfortunately, in AppScript, there is no exact index and match function, but there is a way to find the find the lookup array, row position, and column position, and then find the row and column numbers for the actual sheet and return the exact same value. So let's see how we do that. So first, I have a function called index match in the Google Sheets AppScript editor. And we're working the sheet. The variable will represent the country's spreadsheet. What we're going to do is we're going to try to get the same value in return the same value in C that's in C2 using an app script. So first we want to find we're going to look for the capital, so we want to find the position of capital in the array. And to do that, first we're going to use the get range function, which takes a starting row in order in the starting column, the number of rows and the number of columns. So we want to get the column position of capital and the array value. So here's our array values, variable, countries, table, header, array values, equal sheet, get range. So here we go. The starting row is 4, starting column is 2, the number of rows is 1, because we're just searching across the top of the table, and the number of columns is 3. So let's run this and see the values we get. So we get continent, country, capital. And now we want to be able to store the position of capital. But first we need to get rid of these first opening and closing brackets by turning this into a single array that can be evaluated. So just come here, type opening bracket 0. Oops, sorry. 0. And that we get continent, country, capitals. That's a single array. And now we can use the index of function to get the position that we can store it in a variable. So first I've added another variable, column lookup value, which is value C1 on our spreadsheet. And I've added another variable, column position, which I want to find by using the country tables array values and then get the index, use the index of function, which is the same as the match function in the spreadsheet. So just to be clear, the spreadsheet and AppScript are different. They use different formulas. This is similar to JavaScript, so it's not the same. We have to use there's different functions and methods. So I want to get the value, the position of the column lookup value, which is with capital, within this array. Okay, so let's run this to see what the column position will be within the array. So the position is 2, which, as you can see, for capital, it should be 3. See, 1, 2, 3. So let's see what we have to do to get the correct position is 10 plus 1. Run it. And get the correct number, which is 3. Now, next, what I want to do is get the actual column number for the whole spreadsheet. And obviously, we can see that it's 4, but let's see, we always want to find values dynamically using variables. So what I've done here is I've added 3 new variables to get the column number. So versus the starting column, which was 2. And then I've added another variable, columns left of lookup array, which is just simply the starting column minus 1. And the actual column number will be the column position plus the columns left of the lookup array. Let's run this. And we get 4. So that's what we want. 1, 2, 3, 4. And next we want to get the row number in this array. Just like we did with the header row range, we want this somewhere you have a column array of variable you have here called country column array values, because once again we're looking in this array here. We also again using the get range, so that this time the starting row is 4, the starting column is 3, not 2, and then the number of rows is 8, and we're working, and there's just one column, so one column, 8 rows, third column, and starting row 4. Let's run this. We get all these valuables. Now the problem is, as you can see, not only do we have the same problem we had before, we want to have extra opening and closing brackets, but we have opening and closing brackets around each value within. So these are array. Each value is an array, and we want to make it just like the with row array. So we want it to just be one single opening and closing bracket, and each one of these values no without opening and closing brackets. And to do that, we need to use the map function, or sorry, the map array method, which takes an input array and converts it into an output array containing values obtained by executing the callback function on each element of the original array. So here I've got an output array called country columns values single array, because we're going to turn this into a single array without all those extra, without opening and closing brackets around each value. So we're taking, sorry, I had to change this value. So this is the input array. So country column array values, and then we use the map function here. And row is going to be our callback function. Return row, and then once again to get rid of the excess brackets and turn it into a single array, which is opening and closing bracket 0. Run this. So now we have a single array with containing the values from the country array or column array. So next I want to find the position of the row position of the lookup value, which is Russia. So I've added a lookup value A2, and then using, once again, so analyzing this, or rather evaluating this array to get the row position, where you can use, once again, the index of, which is equivalent of the match function in Google Sheets, not AppScript, but Google Sheets, of the row lookup value. So we're on that position, and we get 1, which is obviously wrong, but again, it's since the array starts from 0, we have to add a 1 to get the correct position. So just 1. I'll get 2, which is about 1, 2. The next we want to get the actual row number. So I've added two new variables. So just starting row, which is 4, and then I want the number of rows above the lookup array. So I'm calling that rows above lookup array is equal starting row minus 1. So that gives me, obviously you can see it's 3, but we want to put everything in variables. And so then the row number is going to be the row position plus the rows above lookup array. So let's run that. We'll get 5. So Russia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the actual row number on this whole spreadsheet. So now that we know the row number of the country lookup value, and we know the column number the actual column number of the lookup value, which was capital, we can come in here and use a new variable called index match result. Sheet, get range, use the row number, column number, and then get that value. And we can run it. And we've got row 5, column 4, and the value is Moscow. Let's see, row 5, column 4, so Moscow. That value is Moscow. So it's essentially the exact same thing as the index and match. So let's try one more. Canada, and again, Ottawa, 6-4. 6-4. So as I said, there's no exact index and match function in the app scripts, but this is the way to use variables and accomplish, arrive basically at the same point, or exactly at the same point using AppScript. Okay, thank you for watching.